Welcome to AstroEnergy with astrologer angel Shelley Overton. Hello and welcome to the November 28th, 2017 edition of the AstroEnergy Astrology Show. My name is Shelley Overton. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and I'm excited to be here today. Just the fact that Mercury is about to go retrograde, but yet is already giving me technical issues is a benefit that I'm even here because, you know, I can't use my keyboard and et cetera, et cetera. It's just, it's already starting to get very frustrating. So hopefully we will not have any issues today with this show and it will go smoothly. It seems okay. I'm on, I'm logging in and everything is good. So anyway, I don't know if I said it. I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida, and it's good to be here with you today. If you would like to get a reading today, the number is 347-994-3365. Yeah, it's going to be an exciting day. We've got so much. And I'm telling you, last week, there was so much going on. I don't even know how I missed this. I'm looking back over last week, and there were two things that I didn't even see because I had other things I was talking about and focused on. I really don't know how I missed it. First off, the sun went into Sagittarius, and I honestly don't remember if I mentioned that. But the bigger one is that Neptune went direct. I mean, how do you miss Neptune going direct? Neptune, a very major planet as far as energy in our world, but a very subtle one. So it doesn't surprise me that that happened because Neptune kind of sneaks around and does its own thing kind of covertly. And so that's kind of what happened. It went direct. So instead of being very much out and that's not even the best word. When okay, Mercury already, please. When Neptune is retrograde, we feel more clarity because the dreamy quality that Neptune has and that kind of deep, misty, foggy quality that comes into our world when Neptune is direct or going direct, is direct, it isn't as influencing us. And I obviously have no control over the English language now. So anyway, Neptune going direct means that we are going to be a little bit more foggy. We're going to go back into the dream state, or at least be more influenced by the dream state. It means that we can be more drowsy. We can be more run down as far as energy. We're more inclined to just chill and want to chill and and not really be as active. Anything in Sagittarius is going to be influenced by the Neptune energy because Sagittarius is an energy that wants to be going all the time and take action, whereas Neptune is not about that. Obviously, I've driven that point home, right? So anyway, Neptune going direct this past week influences weather, influences rain and water, and we had a storm actually, and that, I'd mentioned it a few weeks ago that when the Neptune energy goes direct, it will influence weather. And I think I did mention it a couple weeks before Thanksgiving how the weather would hit a little bit before Thanksgiving, and that's what happened. So thankfully, that's one thing to be thankful for. Thanksgiving. I hope your Thanksgiving was good this year. I had a nice one. I went out with my family to a restaurant, but I have to tell you, I do miss having Thanksgiving at homes at my parents' house. They don't want to cook. My mom doesn't want to cook anymore, but anymore for Thanksgiving, and not much day to day either. But having it at a restaurant, it's always nice to go to a restaurant, but for me, the holiday is meant to be around family and friends close to home. So I think Thanksgiving will fit the bill this year. I don't think we're going to go out for what did I say? Thanksgiving, Christmas. Oh my gosh. Anyway, so having Neptune now, in another sense, will actually bring us to more fluidity moving towards our dreams and goals, especially if we have planets in a water sign. So that would be Cancer, Pisces, or Scorpio. And it's also going to make us more emotional and more sentimental. It'll bring people back into our lives from the past, and it may make us want to escape more, and alcohol, drugs, or for me, movies. I love getting into movies, and it rules film. So it's a really good time to maybe do non-detrimental means now. Okay. Just taking a deep breath so I can focus. So the other thing is Mercury now in the shadow. And the shadow period means that at either end of the Mercury retrograde, there is a shadow period. And what that means, when Mercury retrogrades, it retrogrades from a specific degree in the specific sign. When it goes back in retrograde motion, the degree that it hits at the last final day of the retrograde, that degree is hit before it even goes retrograde. We've already gone through that degree. So let's just use it as an example. So it's going to retrograde at 29 degrees Sagittarius, and it retrogrades all the way back to 13 degrees and 0 minutes of Sagittarius. So 13 degrees and 0 minutes is actually between the 15th and 16th of November. So from that point on, and I'm just looking here on my chart, my ephemeris, and that means that from the 15th of November on to when Mercury clears that degree, clears 29 Sagittarius, which will be, let me just double check here. It's going to be January of next year, and it will be the 11th of January. And I apologize for the truck going by. It's the country, which interestingly means that there's more sound out here than there is in the suburbs. I didn't think it was possible, but it actually is. There's so much more activity and noise out here. Anyway, so we will have the influence of Mercury retrograde through January 11th, which is almost a full month of that Mercury retrograde energy. I think we will still feel it moving direct, and it will still feel better probably for us, especially those of us influenced by square to Sagittarius, which would be anyone with Mercury in Virgo, Mercury in Pisces, and Mercury in opposition in Gemini. We're going to feel it probably the strongest, along with people with Mercury in Sagittarius. And then the other signs will be more influenced by it through the inconjunct. So inconjunct 30 degrees away or 150 degrees away. And that is Scorpio and Capricorn will feel it, but probably not as much. And then the ones that are in sextile, definitely it will affect, but just not a direct hit to how you communicate and how you think. Kind of like you see, I've had my issues already trying to control the process of thinking as it affects the tongue. So we're gonna feel this retrograde in action, in education, in music, and let's see, we're gonna feel it with travel, airplane travel, airline travel, and probably more pointedly in our country with miscommunications to other countries. And so diplomacy is going to be affected. And energy where we have to communicate with people who don't necessarily speak our language, there are going to be more miscommunications in that range, in that area. So as you know, December is a big travel month, and having Mercury retrograde in the sign that rules travel is going to make it a little bit more difficult for us, unfortunately. So I would say just double check your dates, double check your tickets, probably get insurance for your airline travel if you haven't already, and know that things may not turn out the way you had intentionally planned. And so it will really help you to go with the flow with this energy. It's going to be a stressful travel time. No easy way to put it. Let's see here. So today is the 28th, And that means literally in 20 minutes, Moon enters Aries. And I personally am very much looking forward to that, because this particular Moon in Pisces has been a little bit more pointed because the Moon went into Pisces right around the time Neptune went direct. So it is much more about looking into our deeper side. It can be the ending of things, especially today, really wrapping up things emotionally in the next half hour. If you're trying to get stuff done, I'm on the air. I'm hoping this is going to record well, because I started this in the last half hour of Moon in the last degrees of Pisces. But those degrees are the ending of an emotional story, and an ending of an emotional story, even around mom or around a past love, past romantic issues. So, yeah, but on the positive side, the fairy tale, which is ruled by Pisces and Neptune, continues, and that is a royal wedding coming up in spring this year with Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. So apparently she's American. All along I was thinking she was Canadian for some reason. I'm not really sure why. Maybe because she has family in Canada, but I thought she was traveling to Canada. I thought she had, or maybe met Prince Harry in Canada or something. But anyway, so that's actually something really positive to look forward to coming up. They will, if they marry after May 15th, it will be better for them personally, my view, because it will clear that Uranus in Aries, which can be a little bit more erratic action behavior, and into Taurus it will be more grounding for a marriage. So yeah, and also, of course, Taurus rules love, and it will be unusual, but I think given the choice of the end degrees of Uranus and Aries versus the beginning degrees of Uranus and Taurus, I'd go for Taurus. So hopefully they have a date after May 15th. And it wouldn't surprise me if they do have one right around there, because it's going to be something that, timing wise, we just naturally gravitate towards things like that. I'm noticing, in particular now, we have a lot of different things. I was thinking about my trip, my vacation falls right around the energy of the shift with Saturn in Sagittarius, the retrograde. A lot of energy is infused right around that travel time. And so, yeah, I'm not going to lie, I'm very conscientious about traveling during this retrograde period. So, anyway, knock wood, say a little prayer. And, it's been planned for months and months, and I'm not going to change it. So, at some point, this is kind of my advice on how to handle Mercury retrograde. If you have to travel, you focus on the positivity of it and try as best you can to keep your mind focused on the good things about what you're doing, because if you focus on the negative, you just attract more negative, and you don't want to do that. So, yeah, keep your eyes focused on the positive. It's Sagittarius, so it is about fun and play. And so, if you can just keep that in mind. Okay, so what else have we got? I'm going to continue talking. I haven't gotten specifics into a lot of the things that are in the chart today, because I was kind of touching on the Mercury and the Neptune. But part of the title of this week's show is about humanitarianism and the humanitarian cause. And when I've talked about this before, I will get kind of a channeling download of information during the week when I just kind of slow down and meditate on astrology. And every week that I do that, usually bigger, overarching storylines come in. And the thing that I got this week was also the connection to humanitarian causes as we see Uranus change signs and go in, because of course Uranus rules humanitarianism. And as we continue on, we see in the last 3 signs of the zodiac, which is where Jupiter, well, let me just hang on a second. Let me just double check this, because the chart I'm looking at is not lined up right, so I want to make sure I've got this. Okay, so Pluto is in Capricorn, then it's in Aquarius, then it's in Pisces. That's where I got my download. So as we see these planets going through Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces, Saturn coming in to Capricorn, it is an ending of how humanity looks at human causes. So, especially with Neptune and Pisces, it can be an idealized view of things, but it's also the connectedness, the final energy as we see Pluto go through these signs will be how we are all blended together. We are all one, and that is something very strong in the last 2,000 years, in the Christian age, really is kind of what it is. The age of Pisces, it's about spirituality, but it has been about religion and control, which is the Capricorn energy. And as Pluto goes into the late degrees of Capricorn, it's going to start picking up some of the humanitarian issues and bringing those out in society. And they're always there. They're always around and underlying, but I think in the common thinking and the collective thinking, those will be pushing up more and more as Pluto gets closer to Aquarius. Aquarius, which is ruled by Uranus, is the humanitarian sign, and it's got two different dynamics. One is it is very independent, and we want to be independent with Aquarius. Wherever Uranus falls in our chart, it makes us extremely not even defensive, but defend our individuality. At the same time, it is also about how we can all work together and how we're working for the greater good. So it's a bit of a dichotomy with that energy, because we have, hey, it's all about me, but it isn't all about me in an ego way. It's all about defending power. And then it's about also having that expression within the collective. So that's the ideal version of the thinking of Aquarius or Uranus. So when Pluto gets closer to that Aquarian ideal or that Aquarian dynamic, it's going to start bringing in the idea that we have individual power, but we are working with that individual power as part of the whole, which is really the vision of Aquarius. And then after Pluto goes through the whole Aquarian energy, which will be close to 14 years, it moves into Pisces. And then, again, Pluto is about power, it's about secrets, and it will bring out, and just getting chills here thinking of it, it will bring out a lot of those kind of Neptunian magical secrets, and really releasing, especially because Aquarius loves to have the idea, the clarity of what's going on. As it moves into Pisces, it kind of wraps up that clear thinking and goes into clear sensing and emotions and connectedness on a deep, a visceral, emotional level. So it's going to be about bringing in the ideas and the understanding that we've had from all of that Aquarian energy into our being, into our spirituality, and really understanding that everyone is here individually as part of a whole. And we all come to Earth, experience this storyline and our specific storylines. And we're here to have power within our own lives. And then we are also here to be that individual, unique person that makes up the fabric of all the rest. So there is no just one person who is responsible for it all, and there is no one way to do everything correctly. We all have something to give, and we all do our own thing, and it's all valid, and yet we are all unique at the same time. So it is a dichotomy that goes on, and I guess maybe a better word is paradox. You have the single and you have the many, and they are both very reliant on each other. And I think having Uranus close to my sun, that is a lesson that I have definitely been learning over my lifetime. I personally have wanting of being individual and not having to rely on others. And yet part of that lesson is the fact that I have a very engaged family, and specifically father, who wants to protect and wants to be a part of my life. And yet I've always fought to have that autonomy. And he ran a very large corporation, one warehouse in a large corporation. So he's always been very responsible to many people. And having retired, he's always trying to find some place to put that authoritarian energy. And he's very family oriented from his upbringing. So it kind of goes into my world. And I'm using this personal experience to kind of flesh out for you how it can manifest. But you have both sides of the coin. You have that energy of individuality, and you have that energy of being a part of a bigger whole. So it's kind of a fine line and a tightrope you have to walk between the two, and trying to have your autonomy a bit, knowing that there are times when having a support network is going to help you. So all of that is coming in as we see Pluto move through Capricorn, Aquarius, and Pisces. And having Saturn at the first degree of Pisces, and by progression it's at late degree Aquarius, it really makes me very aware of how that transition will happen, because by the time Pluto gets to those degrees, I'll be a very old person. I'm going to be in my 80s, and you have a Uranus transit around that time, and it's just going to be really interesting to see the major changes that will be coming in. And then 2020 and 2024 also having these enormous shifts of energy with the collective and mentality, just how we think. So anyway, I want to touch on some of that because it really came in to me this. And then at the same time, on the heels of that thinking, I really see about Nostradamus and how he used astrology, and I think he used also divination and maybe some envisioning. He had visions to see what the future was going to be like so far in the future, and his predictions, were hundreds of years ago. I think it was 1570s. I believe was the timeline, 1570s, 1580s, 1590s, somewhere in there. And he was actually a contemporary of Mary, Queen of Scots, and Queen Elizabeth I. He was utilized by, I believe, I'm trying to remember, Catherine de Medici, who is Mary, Queen of Scots' mother-in-law. So that's kind of interesting. I mean, it's just fascinating to me to think about how astrologers use divination through astrology to project out into the future, and can be assigned to people. And really, honestly, the amount of time it must have taken just to focus in on what could be happening in the future and seeing all the specifics, not only looking at the planetary aspects so far in the future, but also doing the architecture of it, bringing in the different charts and having to do that all by hand, and a phenomenal task, quite honestly. So anyway, I guess I need to zip through some of these planets too. I was thinking, okay, that was it, but it's not it. We haven't done our planets. So okay, so I'm going to look here and see what's coming up this week so we have a clear view and I don't miss anything this week. We have an inconjunct on Thursday between Mars and Chiron. So Mars in Libra and Chiron in Pisces. So that is definitely a connection to a relationship or a partnership that will be a wounding kind of energy. And because Mars is at late degrees of Libra, it's a 23 today. So it's going to be probably only a degree, maybe two after that, because Mars, remember, Mars goes into Scorpio on the 10th of December. So he is really at the last 12 days of his time in Libra. So having it in conjunct to a Piscean Chiron, Chiron is also at late degrees Pisces, and so it's going to be a wounding. It's an ending of a relationship, an ending of a pattern. I have someone in mind, but I haven't necessarily seen that come out full force. But yeah, there may be someone, an old relationship, an old sentimental connection that comes in, or maybe you find out the passing of someone who used to be really close to you. We have Venus entering Sagittarius at 4:14 a.m. on Friday. And so Venus in Sagittarius means a love of the outdoors, a love of learning, a love of expansion and growth. And again, Venus is coming in when Saturn's going out. Mercury will be leaving as well. When does Mercury get out? It should be right after that. Oh, no, that's right. We have a Mercury retrograde, so Mercury won't get out until January. So we have Venus coming in, Saturn winding up, Sun just got into Sagittarius, and Mercury will be going back. So this really is the next month of some very strong final movement, final push. And also, I want you to know that if you're frustrated by not being able to move forward, that's Saturn in the end degrees of Sagittarius with the retrograde Mercury in Sag. They are conjunct right now. They're within 10 minutes of time in the sky. So they just joined, and I think I mentioned that too. Let's see. 1:58 a.m. they joined this morning. So they're very close in the sky, and they are bringing up words. Again, it's going to be words around sex. So I haven't looked at the news today. I'm guessing more information's coming out. And with the Mercury retrograde, it's going to be the women who have been accusing, and anyone who's accusing someone else of sexual misconduct will be taken to task, will be having to bring forth the information and justify it. That's what Mercury going retrograde is going to do. So we've had all this, massive awareness coming out, and now we have to prove it. So the next 3 weeks into January will be about proving it, and also the backlash. So I've already heard a little bit of the backlash yesterday, and it's going to also be the time where the figures who have been accused are now going to probably challenge their accusers and say, kind of like Al Franken, I'm not going to step down. I'm not leaving. I apologize. We'll see how that pans out come January. But this is all the going around about he said, she said, and who's actually going to end up with something being permanent from what's going on. And having Venus in Sagittarius, that's going to challenge, honestly, Venus is the feminine side. In Scorpio, there is a sexiness, but it's about feminine energy because of Scorpio. Going into Sagittarius, it puts women on men's territory and in male territory. So now it's going to be like, well, she enticed me and she was behaving a certain way. So look for that this month. That's what it is astrologically. It's not my storyline. It's just the way it kind of plays out. And then come January, when Uranus goes into Taurus, and then we have Saturn only 10 days into Capricorn, it will be much more strict and restricted. And ultimately, that will bring about, especially with Jupiter and Scorpio this year, and Jupiter will be in the first degrees for a little while, but it will go back retrograde. I believe it is to about 13 degrees in 2018. I think it goes all the way back to 13 before it turns direct. Yeah, it turns direct on the 11th of July at 13 degrees. So 13 is a big number. And so numerologically, I believe it represents in my view, because I don't do a lot of numerology, but in my view, 2, 4, and 8 are associated with partnering and money. And so I think that there are going to be some issues around that as well coming up into the new year. Okay, so we've got Venus at 26 Scorpio today. So she'll be entering Sagittarius Friday. And then right after she enters it, she enters 4:14 a.m. Eastern, and then Mars opposes Uranus. Big day. This Friday is a pretty big day for oppositions among ideology and power plays. Definitely Mars, the ruler of Aries, opposing Uranus in Aries, but Mars is in Libra at end degrees. It's ending something. It's a power play. Venus enters Sagittarius. She enters a fire sign. So she's finding some fiery power. She's using a more masculine energy to express. And so, yeah, it's kind of like Friday is a very big initiation, personally, of kind of like a battle of the sexes that's going to play out pretty big. And then we have the moon in Taurus, Venus ruled, of course, answering to Venus, opposing Jupiter in Scorpio. A major big he said, she said, and, this is going to be who wins out, who's going to take the other down, who's going to have the final say. And then Jupiter trines Neptune on Saturday. That's the day Mercury goes retrograde at late in the evening, Pacific 11:34 p.m. and 2:34 a.m. Sunday morning. So this is have mercy. So we have this opposition on Friday. We have Mercury retrograde Saturday with the Jupiter Neptune trine, two very major forces. That's going to be a big idealized day, a dreamy day, and I'm guessing because Jupiter tends to take off some of the restriction. We have Neptune idealizing things now in Pisces. It's going to be a big shopping day, but then Mercury goes back, and I already mentioned this before. This is when we buy things that we may have to take back because we idealize the situation and somebody else doesn't see it that way, and they're going to end up taking it back after Mercury goes direct. So those are the planets that I have highlighted. I'm looking through a little bit further. I don't see anything more major, but definitely this weekend it's very active around money, around power, around opposition between the genders and relationships. So those are the themes, and it's going to be really interesting. So anyway, you know what? I'm just going to pop over here, and I apologize again for the loud noises coming by because now I have my my recycle guy coming by. But I'm going to just tell you my little ad for my website because I recorded it, but there wasn't enough time to actually upload it, and it's more relevant this week. So I apologize for just doing this live, but I'm going to give you a little reading here of my script. So just bear with me, and then I'm going to take a quick break just to get some water, and we'll be right back to take readings. So anyway, if you're looking for fun, beautiful, unique gifts for your family or friends, here's the perfect place for you. ShelleyOverton.com is the answer. With bright, whimsical, as well as realistic art options, you are bound to find art for everyone's taste. But there isn't just art. ShelleyOverton.com has photography designs too. If you like Disney, you will find items with Cinderella's castle on them. Are you buying for a Harry Potter fan? Check out the photos of the Hogwarts Express or Diagon Alley. And ShelleyOverton.com has mugs, t-shirts, shower curtains, phone cases and chargers, tote bags, as well as art prints of all sorts and in support of the arts. So stop by ShelleyOverton.com. That is ShelleyOverton.com. You'll be glad you did. In these days of stress, running around, responsibilities, we all need a little place to go to make it all better. Is that place sports, football, or maybe you like to garden, paint, or just listen to music? Wherever your happy place is, you can find a shirt or mug to reflect that happy place. At myhappyplace.rocks, we have a variety of lifestyle products, including iPhone cases, pajamas, and pet items, all with beautiful, colorful designs, which help us go to our happy place. Stop by on the web for great gift ideas for others and yourself. myhappyplace.rocks. Lenny Pickett appears courtesy of Random Act Records. Check them out at randomactrecords.com. Okay, thank you for humoring me. I hit the wrong button, but anyway, try out myhappyplace.rocks. It's pretty cool too. Anyway, let's take some calls after I give you a little station identification. You are listening to the AstroEnergy Astrology show with me, Shelley Overton, and I'm an astrologer in Orlando, Florida. If you are interested in getting a reading from me, stop by astrologerangel.com. Thank you. Okay, let's see. We have 650. Hi, 650. How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Is this
Can
Mooney?
you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes. Hi. How are
Hi.
you?
I'm good. What can I do for you today?
Well, I'm really resonating with your topic on reconnecting with people from your past. I'm going to I'm going to a gathering today. One of my parents, really good friends, passed away, so I'm going to
I'm
see.
sorry to hear that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was a great guy. Anyhow, I'm going to go see all of these people I haven't seen in ages. I'm wondering but on a more pressing front, I am like 1 month away from being totally broke. I've applied for several jobs. I've had 2 interviews, and I'm wondering how that's going to turn out, like for December. If you could do that, or whatever you feel.
Yeah, no, you've got a lot of stuff popping in your chart. Moon is in Pisces in your second house of money today, and that goes into your house of money kind of with this idealized, like, man, I need to do something. And where's it coming from? Pisces and Libra and Aquarius can be a little bit, they're not the signs that tend to be really good with money or bring in money. That's where money can be missing in your chart.
Yeah.
But,
hello.
Yeah. I know, but what's good is Uranus.
Goodness.
Uranus goes direct on the 3rd of January, but before then you have Saturn going into Capricorn, and that's in the money from career. So I know it's a little tight, but it's December 21st, and so that actually changes things up big time for you because it falls right there on the cusp. And not only that, Saturn just went out of your house of career, which wherever Saturn is can be restrictive, and now it's in money from career. So, I mean, it seems restrictive in one way, but I can tell you what it is it's moving into Capricorn, which owns responsibility for things. And so now you're going to be in a position to have to really do the work and organize your life in a way that supports what you want to do. So as far as, finding jobs, Mars is about to hit your Neptune. When he goes in on the 10th of December, he's going to be right on top of your Neptune. And so I'm going to tell you education or something where you teach people how to research, or there's some kind of social work or research or therapy, things like that. But
that's the job I interviewed for.
Mars is really good for that. Go ahead.
I interviewed for this job on Wednesday, and they seemed to really like me. They said that they would probably get back to me sometime this week. But it looks like they weren't really looking to start someone in December because they assumed you have to give 2 weeks notice. I said, oh, no, not me. I don't have to give 2 weeks notice. But it is teaching people how to understand credit, how to manage credit, all of the elements of that, and connecting them with, it's really a cool job. And it comes with benefits. Cool. So that's the one I want. But I don't know, do you see me getting that? What do you think?
Yeah, actually, you've got Mars hitting your Jupiter in partnership, and it's money from others. So it's, connecting to Jupiter is the planet of fortune. Mars on your planet of fortune in the 8th house is pretty fortunate. And then right after that, it goes into Scorpio and hits your Neptune. So this is like an ideal thing for you. And I do think that you've got a very strong chance of getting it. December 10th is when it goes into Scorpio, but literally it hits your Jupiter before then. So I'm just looking here at when it goes.
Last Wednesday at 10. It was supposed to be a 1-hour interview. It went on for 2. So
oh my gosh!
So
they must really be interested. Yeah. So that was the day Neptune went direct. What time of day did you go in? And what time
Pacific
zone
Standard.
and time? Mm-hmm.
Pacific Standard Time, 10 a.m.
Yeah.
10
Oh,
to
okay. Well,
noon.
yeah, you were in the clear. Oh, and you also had the moon in Capricorn joining Pluto that day, like an hour later. Like in the middle of
What's
your
that?
interview, Moon joined Pluto, which is major life change and structure and career. So yeah, that was a great day for an interview.
Oh, good.
Yeah, I think Mars joined Jupiter is going to be a really positive thing, and the Moon and Jupiter conjunct in your chart. So it's not only joining, when it joins Jupiter, it'll join your Moon, and then right after that, it goes into Scorpio and early on. Oh my gosh, I swear. This is the thorn in my side driving by. He's the one guy I have trouble with out here.
I have an airplane flying by while you're trying to talk to me too.
Oh, do you? Oh, okay. I didn't know if you could hear that engine, but he's a sports car that's together and it's like anyway.
Oh no. No, we can't hear that. You're in the clear.
Good. I have a pretty good mic, pretty good headset, so that's good. I'm glad. Anyway, so you've got these energies, but on top of that, you have Venus joining Mars, and probably the day, let me just do a real quick chart, the day that you had the interview, Venus was approaching a conjunction to Mars because it was, way back last week. So what day did we say? It was the 21st? Is that the day?
I don't remember. It was last
22nd.
Wednesday.
Yeah, it was the 22nd. So let me just see where Venus was. Venus was at 19 degrees. So, yeah, she was like 6 days away from joining Mars, which will create action. And so I'm guessing that they're probably talking about it, and then you're going to hear something in the next few days. That's what I think.
Yeah. Do you see it? Is it a
Jupiter
yes, or do I need to keep?
I would say that if it's not a yes, it's absolutely a view of the kind of thing you want to have. And I definitely think by the time, I don't know how it's not a yes, honestly, looking at this. I almost want to say it's a fait accompli, like it's already a done deal. They just maybe haven't told you yet. That's kind of the energy I'm getting. You had the moon with Pluto. Let me see what's going on in Capricorn right now. And that was pretty close to your Mercury. I think they see that you're a responsible person, and they're going to, I just think that it's a yes. That's just what I'm getting. I think it's already a done deal. Like I think it's already decided on. Yeah.
Fabulous. Oh my God.
Yeah.
It would be just in time. Would they be starting me in December, or is it going to go to January?
Well, I think that what's going to happen to you, whether it is or isn't this job, it is going to happen in December. I think Mars getting into Scorpio is really big for you because Mars goes on top of your Neptune. Neptune is your ideal situation. And I can tell you when Mars going in your 8th house is endings and new beginnings, and you really start to see them when the planets get out of the 8th house and they go into the 9th, because the 9th is much more, like I say, it's expansive, and the 8th house can be like more worry, more looking for problems, that kind of thing, because it's a Scorpio house.
Hello.
And when Mars, exactly. Well, interestingly though, Mars into Scorpio falls in your 9th house, which is much more optimistic. And I think that because Neptune is in your 9th house and Mars is going there, it's going to give you more opportunity for your dream. And I have to ask you, are you interested in moving to another location? Because that could also be a possibility.
I wouldn't mind. Absolutely wouldn't mind. And actually, they told me that the major part of the work will be done in one office, but there will be times when I have to commute to a place which is like an hour and a half away. And I said, oh, no problem. I said, if I have to move, I don't mind.
Right.
But it's just supposedly once or twice a month, they said, that I would need to go there. I don't know. It could be more, whatever. What do you see?
I'm going to say that it may start out one way, but I think by the time Uranus goes into Taurus, that's going to shift things. And I think that you're probably going to, and that also, Uranus into Taurus is going to be more education because it's in your third house of education. So you're definitely going to do more training, but that is kind of the wild card right now because not only is it going direct in January, it's going to move into a new sign in May. So it rules the unexpected. So it's that, oh, can you do this? Something you didn't expect. And I also see, even though you interviewed, I think that there may be someone in this position that may be a little bit difficult to deal with, or there might be somebody else who wants a position that's vying for it that could be a thorn in your side if you get it. I'm just giving you a heads up that there's another woman there right behind you that could be like a jealous person. So just keep an eye out for that. Okay?
Okay.
Yeah.
Actually, as they were interviewing me, I think I'm more qualified for the position of what do they call that? Publicity, developing relationships with the philanthropists who donate to the corporation.
Wow.
It's a nonprofit,
well, that's awesome.
actually. I'm more qualified for that. But he did mention that someone has just been hired for that position. Although she's been doing the work that I am interviewing for, because they need someone to come in. They identified this late, and I said, "Oh, I would love to do that, like being out with the public more." So, it could be a tension.
Well, I think, I think that there's like a shadow. She's like a shadow of you, but everything that's in your chart right now is going right across your north node Neptune, which means you are the golden girl. And you have Moon, Jupiter conjunct, and Neptune north node conjunct in Scorpio with Jupiter on it. I mean, it's extremely fortunate. I mean, Jupiter expands and creates fortune. So there are some transitions and things associated. But again, Jupiter also means travel, and it's in its own sign. So I'm guessing ultimately, when Jupiter gets to Sagittarius next year, you may even end up getting offered a place farther away, like another location that you could work at.
Well, at that point, by May, I'm hoping to have completed my thesis so I can get my MA. And my long-term goal is to teach literature at a community college.
Exciting.
So
well,
if I could do the job
Jupiter
doing
is
that,
also, then Jupiter's aligning you with that as well, because teaching is the 9th house. That's where Jupiter is right now, and it'll be there for the next year. Venus is right on your Mars as well. So, teaching at a college would definitely be part of the whole thing. If this job doesn't go through, definitely there's another one. You've got a lot of power and energy in that area of your chart, and it all kind of points to expansion, education, growth, and fortune. So don't worry about it. I definitely think it's going to be okay.
I have another interview. I had one yesterday over the phone. It's by contract. It's translation for companies.
Right. Also falls under Jupiter in the 9th.
Right.
Everything's in the right house. I'm sorry. I would love to continue on, but I have a few callers, and I have to move on.
Okay.
But anyway,
thank you so much. I appreciate your help.
Please do call another time, or look me up for a reading privately, and we can get into more depth. Okay?
Yeah. When I get the job, I'll be calling you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Oh, I'm
so
excited.
Much,
I look forward.
Thank you.
Don't worry. You've got a lot of fortune. So, last thing I will tell you is, whatever twists and turns you get, don't sweat them. You're on the right path. You're going to get there. Okay? It's all aligning for you. Yes, it's all aligning. The sun's coming up on your Saturn. So don't worry, it's good. You're in the spotlight. You're in the right place. Okay, you're welcome. Take care.
Cool.
Bye.
Cool. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Sorry. Okay, let's go to another caller. We've got 202. Hi, 202. How are you?
Hey, how's it going, Shelley?
Good. Who am I talking to?
It's Kay. Sorry.
Hey. No, it's okay.
Hey.
I mean, I would have deciphered it eventually. I look at your area code, and I would have it's Kay. Okay. Anyway, what can I do for you today, Kay?
I want to see what you have coming up for me. I guess work-wise, I have been just churning along on this personal project of mine, but also I have, a 9-to-5 gig, and I'm just wondering what you see coming up in terms of I just need a change with work, the main gig at least, or
Right.
some funding coming in for what I've been doing.
Mhm. Yeah, well, are you thinking of doing something out of your home, because that's really strong in your chart right now?
Yeah, well, I have a surgery. We talked about I have a surgery coming up in the next few weeks, and so it'll be
Okay.
like a 4 to 6 week recovery.
Okay.
So I can work on some things in my home at that point, and I was hoping to do
Right.
some applications and work,
Yeah.
do some editing then.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mars is right on your Pluto, which is a change around work. It's in the career house, and then it hits your moon, and they're conjunct. Your chart has moon conjunct Pluto, and so that's major shift and change, and a shift with partnering. And again, you're really going to be very strongly hit this weekend with the shift and change energy. You've got Uranus at 25 opposing within 4 degrees your a moon Pluto conjunction in your career house. Mars is triggering that. Venus in your chart, your natal chart, is at 28 Aries. So Uranus is right on your Venus. The beginning of next year, when Uranus goes direct, is also making a shift and change there. And so if you haven't thought of moving home, you're probably going to do it within the first 6 months of next year. And it'll be really evident that it's time to shift and change that situation early next year. So a lot of stuff
really
is going
like moving home back to where I come from.
Well, yeah, shifting, actually, it looks like you're moving away, like being more independent, because Uranus is about, like I said, about independence, and it's right on your Venus. So that's like, what it's saying is Venus in the house of home and family is, especially in Aries, is like you've kind of been an independent person a lot of your life, and Uranus is kind of even more so reinforcing that right now. But as it moves out of that home sector, it says, okay, you've done that story. You know where you are.
Yeah.
And now it's time to move on from that storyline within the family of origin, and it's going into the house of children and creativity, and it's also the energy of home business. Uranus, I've got chills about this. I think that you're going to take the time off, and you're going to be in the home, and you're going to be like, I really want to stay home. I really want to work out of the home, and I think you're going to come up with something you can do out of the house. Yeah, and it's only going to get stronger because you have natal Uranus at 25 Scorpio. So with Jupiter over the next year coming to that degree at the end of next year, it's just going to, like what happens is Jupiter will go into your 12th house, and you're going to like, I don't want to be out in the public right now. I want to be holed up in my home. I want to be doing creative things. I want to get into my thoughts. That's really, very strong for you coming up. February of next year that's when Jupiter gets into that house. It starts in February before it goes retrograde, which happens in March. And you'll definitely be feeling it all of spring next year and then into summer. And you may have to go back a little bit and redo some type of situation with other people over the rest, like from April, May, June through November, and not even November. Jupiter goes direct and gets back to 22 in September. So probably April through September, there may be, I have to go back and take care of this, but you are really coming into a cycle of very strongly rooted in wanting to be home, wanting to be away from people, and much more in the emotional nurturing of your own personal energy in that space. And it's about the creativity. Uranus is saying, honestly, it's kind of what I've been thinking about lately is getting my Etsy shop. My Etsy shop is already up, but getting it more up and running, doing something with like business and maybe retail, because Uranus is entrepreneurship, going into your creativity house. There's some creative energy going in there. And around children or something, it can be aesthetics, it could be makeup, it could be anything that brings you into a creative place and is more around beauty and retail and money from retail. All of those are triggered by Taurus. So, and then Jupiter in Scorpio is money from partnership, actually, if there's any way. I don't know. It's kind of interesting dichotomy, a paradox again, is that you've got Uranus, Pluto and Libra and in the career house, which is partnering. And you definitely, I would say, you need a partner to be able to work away from corporate America. You have been spending the Jupiter Libra year, which was last year, realizing that you have to take care of you and that you're not going to give away your power anymore to that. So it's still something that deep down you do better with someone to bounce things off of, but you have to maintain those boundaries. And that's kind of part of the storyline that you're coming into. Okay? And being much deeper about where you're going emotionally. But Uranus and Scorpio, you can be very, you have a really great ability to find unique ways of solving problems. And you look for problems. Scorpio always looks for problems, but Uranus finds a solution in unique and unexpected ways and inventive ways. And it's in the 12th house of the subconscious, so you can dream solutions. And yeah, it's an interesting chart, but anyway, yeah, it's definitely, you've got Saturn within 4 degrees of Neptune. It just finished the last pass over your Neptune. So coming into Capricorn, it's in the first house. You are finding yourself. You are organizing your thoughts and who you want to be, and it is about you now. And you're really coming into a self cycle and letting go of a lot of the codependent behavior that kept you held back. So don't worry, the planets are going to make sure it all happens. Next year is a big, big year for materializing dreams. Okay?
I hope so, because I'm just so tired of pushing. I just want to kind of
I get it.
Just
totally
disappear,
Yeah. Well, you've got all the Sagittarius energy squares all of your Virgo energy, the Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, and Virgo. So know that there is a shift and change, a different spirituality and coming into your own, and you have natal Neptune square your Saturn. So there is that kind of back and forth, you want to be free to move about and do your own thing, which Saturn and Mercury are really triggering right now. Mercury is exactly the same degree as Neptune for you. So, you want to be free, but you're going to be free. You just have to go through a little bit of the psychological shift to be able to do that. And that's the next year for you. Okay?
So the freedom comes next year.
I would say the beginning of 2019. Year and a half, because you have a 15-degree Sagittarius rising, so you've got to get Jupiter out of your 12th house, and that happens when Jupiter hits 15, which will be early 2019, like January.
Gotcha.
Okay?
Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Take care. Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, let's see if 561 is. 561, how are you?
Hi, Shelley. It's Lena. How are you doing?
Hi, Lena. I'm doing well. What's going on in your world?
Oh, not good. That guy is really trying to make my life miserable because he can't get what he wants out of me. So he's turned my family against me and stopping me from working. And I got a court date on December 13th, and he's been trying to bully me through my family, saying that if I go to court that he's going to make me pay his attorney fees and sue me. And it's just unbelievable what this person is putting me through. I mean, do you think I'm going to see him before the 13th, or what do you see the 13th a good day, or what do you see coming up?
What you're asking if you're going to see him?
Well, before I go to court, because I don't know if I mean, he lives 3 hours away. Like if he's going to try and talk to me before. Oh, no, I'm not seeing him at all. I don't even want to see him. I'm afraid if I see him, especially with the Aries moon today, I'm going to rip his head off.
Well, hang on. Let me just look real quick here. Well, I think you still have some stuff going on with him, obviously, because you've got Mercury, Saturn, and Sag. They're joining up, and Mercury is going to retrograde, which means you're going back over that. And you said he's a Scorpio?
He's a Scorpio rising with a Sag sun and a Gemini moon. I mean, very sneaky man.
Okay. He is. Well, it all falls in your, I don't have a whole lot of time, so I'm just going to whip this out really quickly. It falls in your 12th house. All the Gemini stuff falls in your 12th house. And, I mean, I know we've talked a little bit off air, but you've got to look at what you can do for yourself and stop focusing on him. And I know that sounds difficult because you're in a situation that, somebody could come up out of nowhere. But I can tell you, I had an experience this past week. I talked about it a week ago, where somebody came out of nowhere and just started, really, in my view, kind of bullying me in the checkout line at Target. And I thought a lot about that. And I'm like, why did it? Because it happened twice. And I think it was the same person, 2 different weeks. And I'm like, why did this happen? And I definitely believe in the law of attraction. So the law of attraction basically says that you have to own your own energy field. You have to look at what you're putting out because you'll get stuff back. And that's also Buddhism, which I practice. So having your mind focused on him, you're giving him power. Bottom line, straight up, you're giving him your power. So what you have to do is find things that empower you in and of yourself and draw you away from him. You're asking me if you'll see him. I can't. I mean, in the amount of time I have on air and not having, I could find that out, but I don't have the time to look into that. It's a very detailed chart. I would say watch out for people coming back in from the past because Neptune is retrograde, or was retrograde, and is now direct. So that's going to bring out the people from the past. It squares his Gemini Sagittarius axis. It squares the Saturn Mercury energy and the sun coming up. And so, it's a thing. But my advice to you as an astrologer and a talk show host is to look at where you're putting your energy and where you're putting your thoughts and start shifting who you are, because you're attracting this in. Just like that law of attraction energy, it's a codependent thing. And every time I've talked to you on air and offline, or online, it's been focused, so hyper focused on him. And I understand that you're coming from a place of fear. So you have to address your fears. You have to look at what you're fearful of, because he's a representation of that. Astrologically, he is a representation of that fear. And so all I can tell you through all of this is, now Sun's in Sagittarius. Obviously, that's some energy around the sex thing and power with, like taking action. So try and find how you can heal. Saturn's in your house of healing. It's about looking to your own personal energy and what you're attracting. I'm sorry, that may not be the answer you want, but that's what I have to tell you. That's what your chart's saying.
Okay.
So look at your own energy, and you've got Jupiter coming into your Neptune in Scorpio, and I think that's going to really empower you. It's actually, the next year is all about, it's 13 degrees. That's what I said. Jupiter retrogrades back to 13. So that's your story for the next year. It's about the codependent connection and the psychological codependence you have with another person. That's what Neptune in Scorpio in the 5th house represents. Okay?
Okay.
So that's
right,
kind of like a little mini power reading. He's a reflection of your energy. You have to look into where your psychology is. Okay? Thanks for the call.
Okay.
Take care.
Bye.
You're welcome. Bye. And that's the show for the week. I apologize to those I didn't get to this week, and I thank you for calling. Please do call again next week, and we're going to be back with a lot more, and I'll talk to you then. Bye. Thanks for stopping by AstroEnergy this week. If you would like to get a hold of Shelley Overton, you can get her at astrologerangel.com, on Facebook at AstroEnergy or Astrologer Angel. The music was provided by Kevin MacLeod at incompetech.com, with additional music by Ironwood Rain. Check them out on the net at ironwoodrain.com. To subscribe, please click the picture of Shelley on the right or the red button below.